good morning. Happy Monday, PASW staff, clients, and friends joining us. We're back for TV Scoring Monday, where we look at a scene, I take out the music. With this, it's been the opening credits, and you guys come up with something. Go to YouTube or Spotify and think, well, what music could be in place of these opening credits? And again, we've talked about the opening credits set the tone of the show, right? We've seen scary, we've seen comedic, we've seen dark, we've seen spooky, eerie, all these kind of things, all these different flavors. And there's so much music out there, you know. You guys are never sending in things that have been submitted before, so that's kind of exciting to do. So today we're going to look at a very famous show that's currently on, a Hulu show, very well reviewed and famous. So we'll be looking at Only Murders in the Building.
How well do you know your neighbors? You see many of them every day, but have you ever wondered what goes on behind their doors?
Are you associated with the deceased?
No. We're neighbors in the building.
So you don't know him?
Just in passing.
Not his passing.
No, yes, when we passed by him.
Before he passed.
That's right.
We find the right connection, and all this cracks open.
I can't tell if I want it to be nothing or for it to be something.
We began with the question, how well do you know your neighbors? Turns out the ones you thought you knew best might be the ones you know the least.
Every true crime story is actually true for someone.
And this is just occurring to you.
I think we should just hit him with the charm.
Good. Excellent. So I'll take the lead on this.
Excuse me?
Well, I can turn on the charm.
Is it on now?
It's warming up.
So it's a mystery comedy, mystery developed by Steve Martin and John Hoffman, two well-established producers and writers. And the plot is fun. It's three strangers that live in this building: Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez. In the trailer we just saw for it, and they're obsessed with true crime and listen to this podcast. And then they become friends as they investigate, and they become their own true crime happening on in the building that they live in. So while they're investigating this, they become a part of and it's a lot of fun. 3 seasons, 23 episodes. Let's take a look at the credits. They're very cool, and it's an interesting composer. So let's take a look. So visually, really cool. Musically, we're hearing something kind of spooky, but also light. In the Danny Elfman realm of comedic dark. Where it's not a horror slasher gore thing, but it's not The Simpsons either. It's somewhere in between. So the composer is Siddhartha Khosla, and a film television composer for The Last of Us, and was in Goldspot, which is kind of a famous band. He grew up in India and then started a rock band here, and was really influenced by 1960s rock. There's a little clip of him that I saw that is interesting, and he talks about the score. So let's take a look at Siddhartha talking about the main theme.
The main title theme from Only Murders in the Building has this quarter note pulse on the piano. It's like jank, 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 and that's a very sort of like 60s Donovan Beach Boysy thing. In terms of the melody, it's a fairly long phrase. Da, 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 9 notes. Da, 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 da. Sorry, 10 notes. No, I don't even know how to add. It's a lot of notes, but it's a fairly long phrase. It kind of sounds like it could be like an old Hindi melody. Like if I sang it in that way, it would be like, da, 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 da. It could be that, which is super Indian classical. When I first wrote that theme and I sent it to John Hoffman, he wanted me to make that piece of music feel very New York. And it was actually my assistant, Alan, that said to me, what about like buckets, like Home Depot type of buckets, as if it were a street musician in the subway. And I was like, that is so interesting. Because in my conversations with John Hoffman early on, John always talked about how New York is filled with these dichotomies. Dichotomy of rich and poor. You can walk down the street at a given time and you can see someone laughing, you can see someone crying like within 10 seconds of each other. And the Arconia, building where we live in the show, is filled with people who either are super wealthy who live there or people who are grandfathered in to, like, you know, under rent control. So this idea of exploring the struggles that some people have and evoking that in the score came via those buckets.
So interesting that his assistant came up with the buckets idea, because that's what we're hearing, where the score has voices in it. So that's providing the melody. And then there's that accompaniment, the chord progressions, right? But then there's the buckets, you know, like Home Depot buckets that make it part of the street sounds of New York, perhaps. Got, you know, great feel to it. So let's take a look without the music now. So we need something that sounds like Siddhartha's score, that's somewhat spooky but fun. And we've done this before. But this isn't like Twin Peaks a few weeks ago. This isn't like The Simpsons. You know, each week I try to vary it up. This is a very fun, classic, you know, comedy, spooky score. So see what you come up with, and with those cool opening titles of the building. This is the building that they live in. And have fun with it. So give me something, you know, by Tuesday, because it takes me a while to compile these things. And then we see your results for Friday. Okay, well, I'll be back Thursday with a new class, but I'll be in the studio tomorrow. Okay, have a great rest of the day, and see you tomorrow. Bye.